Growing up in a tiny town in rural Arkansas meant that if you were different at all, people noticed. And I was different. Hi, my name is Ashley, and this is the story of how my biggest burden became my superpower, and then my burden all over again. Ever since I was a toddler, I had a hearing impairment that forced me to wear this bulky device over my left ear. My parents told me I could never take it out, that it was dangerous if I did. I believed them. At least until I reached that age where you start questioning everything. School was brutal. Molly, the class clown, was also the class bully. She had this little routine she loved to do. She'd sneak up behind me, tap my hearing device, and announce for everyone to hear, "Paging Agent Ashley, do you copy?" The whole class would laugh. The teachers, they just looked the other way. Nobody wanted to be her next target, and I couldn't blame them. Home wasn't much better. My parents were always fighting, and it always felt like I was the reason. The tension was constant, a quiet hum of anger that filled every room. One night at dinner, things got really bad. The yelling, the accusations, it was all too much. Overwhelmed and angry, I finally did the one thing I'd never dared to do before. I reached up and pulled the device out of my ear. Instantly, a piercing, high-pitched ringing exploded in my head. It was so loud, so painful, that my knees buckled and I collapsed right there on the floor. My parents rushed over, their faces a mix of panic and anger, and shoved the device back into my ear. "That's what happens when you don't listen," they said, their voices stern. "It protects you, but protects me from what?" Their vague warnings only made me more confused and more suspicious. High school came, and with it, soccer, the only thing I was half decent at. It was my escape. Unfortunately, Molly was on the team too. There was no escaping her. During a crucial game, the score was tied with only minutes left. She passed me the ball unexpectedly, right in front of the goal. I panicked. My feet got tangled, and I went down hard. The other team scooped up the ball and scored, winning the game. Molly mocked me relentlessly for the rest of the week. It all came to a head during practice. She wouldn't let it go. "Still paging Agent Ashley," she sneered. That's when I snapped. I turned and kicked the ball with all my might straight into her face. It was a stupid move, I know. She tackled me, and in the chaos, she ripped my hearing device out. The ringing returned, just as painful as before, but then something else happened. Silence. Complete and total silence. I looked up. Everything was frozen. The ref, mid-whistle. The other players caught in mid-stride. Molly was frozen mid-lunge, her face a mask of fury. Time had stopped. And somehow, even without the device, I could hear my own thoughts, my own breathing, perfectly. Cautiously, I reached for the device on the grass and put it back in my ear. The world snapped back to life with a jolt. Yelling, whistles, chaos. That's when I realized the truth. My parents had lied. This device wasn't just for my hearing. I tested it again later that night in my room. Every time I removed the device, time froze. Every time I put it back, the world resumed. The power came with that blinding pain, but it worked. For the first time in my life, I wasn't powerless. I had a secret, a superpower. I started using it for small things at first. Escaping my parents' arguments, I'd just freeze time and walk away. Fixing mistakes on a test. I could make myself seem funnier, smarter, more athletic. I used it to make friends. I even used it to cheat, and I got away with it. Life became easy too easy. That's when I met Jasper. He was new, and he wore these strange, dark sunglasses that he refused to take off, even indoors. He saw me, really saw me, in a way no one else ever had. He spoke to me like I wasn't broken, like I mattered. One day, he looked right at me and said, "What people see as your biggest weakness might actually be your greatest strength." He had no idea how right he was. But the more I used my power, the worse the pain became. The ringing lasted longer, the headaches more intense. Then, everything unraveled. I'd used my power to break into the school to change a grade, and my parents found out. We had a massive fight, and I finally confronted them about all the lies. They broke down and admitted everything. I was adopted. They knew about my power. The device was meant to suppress it. I ran. I just bolted out of the house. In the chaos of them chasing after me, my mom's car backed up, right over my hearing device. It was crushed. And just like that, time froze. Permanently. No device. No way to restart it. I was trapped in a silent, still world. That's when I found Jasper. Or rather, he found me. He explained the truth. We weren't alone. We were born on the same day, in the same hospital. We were exposed to something in the nursery. A strange energy event. A handful of us gained the ability to freeze time. His glasses and my hearing device were limiter safety measures created by our parents. His parents had used him, exploited his power. Mine had tried to hide the truth to protect me. And somewhere out there was a master device. A prototype capable of resetting everything but at a cost. Using it would destroy our powers. Forever. Standing there in that frozen world, I finally saw what I had become. Manipulating people. Taking shortcuts, forcing outcomes. That wasn't strength, that was fear. I was still that scared kid from Arkansas, just with a fancy new way to hide. So we chose to end it, together. We found the master device, activated it, and as time lurched back into motion, we crushed it, destroying the glasses and the remnants of my hearing aid for good. Time restarted. The world moved forward. And for the first time, so did I. My parents finally told me everything. They held me instead of fighting. I chose to be normal with all the pain and beauty that comes with it. Jasper and I started dating, no frozen moments, no shortcuts, just awkward kisses and real feelings that somehow made time feel frozen anyway. Funny how that works. A few months later, at the school assembly, a voice came over the speaker, and this year's homecoming queen is Ashley. Applause, music. Real life, it was better than any superpower. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more stories like this. I'll see you in the next one.